Corruption at its finest in the new Netflix movie Rebel Ridge. It was a really interesting interpretation when it comes to corruption and law enforcement taking things into their own hands. I was actually really excited to watch this movie as it's something fresh and new added into the Netflix catalogue. I remember watching the trailer to the movie and I was quite excited actually because it's another John Wick's type of vibe that's coming back onto the scene. Have Netflix created something successful that can actually go on and compete in the action thriller genre? And is it a good addition to their catalogue of content? Not pulling any punches, Rebel Ridge throws you right into the thick of things, not holding back on hyper suspense that it wants to create around its story. It's a tense action thriller that delves into the themes of corruption, justice, and revenge. The story follows Terry Richmond, an ex-Marine who uncovers shocking secrets as he takes on a dangerous mission to expose the truth, bringing him face to face with ruthless enemies. As Terry battles against those trying to cover up the truth, he's forced to confront not just the physical dangers of his enemies, but the emotional weight of his past. The story escalates as he fights to protect his loved ones while uncovering the conspiracy that could bring down everyone in power. As Terry gets closer to exposing the full conspiracy, the tension just skyrockets. The final showdown is intense, full of violence and emotion, really pushing Terry to his limits. He's not just fighting for justice, but also to protect the people that he cares about. By the end, justice is served, but it's not a clean win. Terry's journey takes a serious toll on him. He's left standing with some hard truths about the cost of seeking justice. And as the main story wraps up, it leaves you with just enough to keep you thinking about it after the credits. We're getting roughly 2 hours in length in this movie, so it was definitely on the longer side when it comes to the run of show, but it does do a good job at keeping you entertained as the suspense is woven throughout. One of the most powerful moments in this movie is when Terry is in a race against time to post bail for his cousin until he has the confrontation with the police that just left me gobsmacked. Imagine a completely calm and cooperative individual, which in this case is Terry, and about 8 police officers who all have guns in their hands, barking similar orders at Terry that he needs to follow. The scene captures the abuse of power in a way that's both emotional and giving you that jaw-dropping moment. The major twist here is all based around Terry's life being put in jeopardy in this moment. And just when you think the danger might pass, it adds an extra layer of suspense. The twist leads to a resolution that's so shocking, highlighting the movie's aim to incorporate both a thrilling and suspense-driven story. The resolution is such a powerful scene because it's capturing the law enforcement abusing their power. And this scene in particular depicts this abuse in such an amplified way, leaving us with a real sense of anger, especially when you witness what comes next. While Rebel Ridge does deliver on action, there are some parts of the plot that feel a little bit confusing. The movie tackles big themes like corruption and revenge, but the pacing and sudden changes within the story make it a little bit hard to keep track of what's happening. Some parts of the story don't feel fully explained, and you might find yourself thinking like, how did we get here? Or why did that happen? Even though there might be some story issues at times, the action scenes and the emotional intensity do keep you hooked. Aaron Pierre as Terry Richmond, his performance is a real standout. And despite the plot gaps, it's an exciting watch if you're looking for a gritty, high-stakes action film. Now, the movie stars Aaron Pierre as Terry Richmond, Don Johnson as Chief Sandy, Anna Sophia Robb as Summer McBride, David Denman as Officer Evan Marston, Emery Cohen as Officer Steve Lan, and James Cornwell as the judge. Now, who are the ones to watch in Rebel Ridge? The ones to watch for me are Terry Richmond, Chief Sandy, and Summer. Now, who is the one to watch out of the ones to watch? For me, I found this to be a pretty easy and straightforward decision, and the chosen one to watch for me is Terry Richmond. Terry Richmond is the main character in Rebel Ridge. From the start, Terry is introduced to the danger and the corruption of the police, and that then leads directly into the narrative of the story, where Terry's original mission becomes even more and more complicated. Terry is an ex-Marine and comes across cool, calm and collected. As we move through time, the struggle becomes greater. Terry's cool, calm and collected approach is forced to change causing him to become more intrigued and test the boundaries of the corruption. Terry's investigation into the police corruption brings him face to face with powerful enemies. He's not just fighting to expose the truth, he's also battling personal demons and risking the safety of those he cares about. Through relentless pursuit, Terry uncovers shocking truths that shake the foundations of the town's law enforcement, but every step forward comes with dangerous consequences, forcing him to make life or death decisions. Terry's journey is a thrilling mix of action and emotion. While he succeeds in unveiling the corruption, the personal toll is heavy, leaving you with a gripping and intense ride that lingers long after the credits roll. Chief Sandy, being introduced to his biggest threat yet in Terry Richmond, is where we see him start to take serious cause for concern. We see someone who is in a position of power, flex that power, and as we move through the movie, that power is in a gradual state of decline. Chief Sandy's journey in the movie follows a cliche pattern of a character who, after enjoying a period of control and power, faces a dramatic shift that challenges their established sense of security. This familiar narrative contributes to the thrill and excitement of the movie, as it explores the downfall of the character who is forced to confront the consequences of their actions and adapt to a new sense of reality. Summer deals with personal trauma and the broader sense of systemic injustice. Her conflict often revolves around her struggle to reclaim her son and navigating the complexities of her situation. Summer's resolution typically involves her coming to terms with her past, confronting those who have wronged her, and taking steps to change those circumstances. It's a journey towards empowerment and healing. Summer's character is an interesting one that involves a sense of personal growth and resolution of her past issues. She may achieve a form of justice or closure, leading to a more empowered and hopeful outlook of her future. The stunning cinematography not only captures the essence of the setting, but it also amplifies the emotional and dramatic elements of the plot. The film uses dynamic close-ups and wide shots with dramatic lighting to draw you in and set the tone. Intense, fast-paced camera work and gritting visuals highlight the central conflicts and challenges. The visuals shift to more stable and subdued shots, reflecting the resolution and broader impact. The final scenes often feature panoramic or symbolic imagery that provides closure and emphasizes the film's themes. While the movie does feel very aggressive in its viewing experience, its approach to the story that it's trying to portray makes it a very interesting watch. Now, I would say it's a good addition to its genre, but I'd say it would land in the mid-tier range. The challenge with this movie is that you can go from one extreme all the way to the other extreme. 1 minute it can be very aggressive, and the next minute it can soften as the storyline's trying to develop. The other challenge that this movie has is that we as the audience are only able to make a connection in with two characters, being Terry and Summer. I did like this movie because it was very entertaining, and it does also conclude the storyline in a very nice way, in that justice prevails. But you don't get that closure as you don't see the resolution completed, just that Terry has gained what he is needed to see it through. Overall, I found Rebel Ridge to be a good addition to its genre and Netflix. The plot and storyline had me hooked because you're exposed to the thrill and excitement straight from the opening sequence. I thought the character development was an interesting one given the pacing style that it took. It allowed you to build more of a picture of the characters in play as you progress through the story with the questions that are being asked by those characters in play. I thought the visual and cinematography played a huge part in what the story was trying to achieve, building that level of suspense in line with the story as it progressed, being able to sustain the audience with a high level of intensity that's threaded throughout the story. And when it comes to the entertainment value, Rebel Ridge does actually feel like a good addition to Netflix. And I would say that Netflix have been successful in being able to create something that can compete in its genre, but in the mid-tier zone. I give Rebel Ridge a 3 out of 5 buckets, meaning it's a binge-watching 50-50. What do you think is an absolute must-have for an action thriller movie like Rebel Ridge in order to be successful? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to smash a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and follow us on social media to stay up to date with the latest content. If you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more. I'm Matthew, this is Binge Watcher. Thanks for binging with me.